y explorers.
Think about this for a moment. A flower that waits its entire life for one single bloom. It opens once, and never again. These flowers are some of nature's rarest wonders. They're studied in places like Kew Gardens in London, the Missouri Botanical Garden, and India's National Botanical Research Institute. Today, we're going on a journey to understand the science, the mystery, and the beauty behind 10 flowers that bloom only once in a lifetime. These plants remind us that patience is a part of nature's design. Some of these blooms still puzzle scientists, and maybe that's the magic. Not everything in nature needs a full explanation. Some things are meant to be experienced. If you felt a small chill while listening, it means your curiosity just connected with the secret world of plants. Stay with me because what comes next might open a new window into how you see the natural world. If you enjoy learning about these wonders, subscribe and tap the bell icon. The next story might be the one that inspires your day. Welcome to Botanic Explorer. Let's begin this rare botanical journey. 1. Agave plant flower, Agave americana, the century bloom. Have you ever wondered why some plants spend their entire life preparing for a single moment? The agave plant is one of them. People call it the century bloom because it can take anywhere from 10 to 100 years to flower. Imagine waiting that long for one chance. When the moment finally arrives, the plant sends up a giant stalk that can rise higher than a two-story house. It's a dramatic burst of life that looks almost unreal. But here's the part that surprises most people. After this spectacular bloom, the agave dies. It puts every last bit of energy into that one event. Botanists at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew describe this as semelparity, a one-time reproduction strategy where the entire life cycle leads to one final purpose. But the story isn't sad. Before the plant dies, it leaves behind young shoots called pups. They carry its legacy forward. Ancient Mexicans saw this as a symbol of sacrifice and rebirth, a reminder that endings often create beginnings. At night, the flower glows with life as bats and moths visit it. They're its secret pollinators, drawn by the rich nectar that can even be turned into tequila. Most people will never get to witness an agave bloom in person. It's rare, unpredictable, and unforgettable. A single moment that represents death, renewal, and the quiet power of patience. Bamboo tree flowers, Bambusa vulgaris, the forest that dies together. Have you ever heard of a plant that waits longer than a human lifetime just to bloom? Bamboo does exactly that. Some species flower only once every 50 to 120 years. And what makes it even stranger is that when one bamboo blooms, every bamboo of the same species blooms with it, no matter where it is in the world. It's as if they're all following the same invisible countdown. Scientists have tried to explain this mystery for decades. Research from the Harvard Herbarium points to a genetic clock hidden inside the plant, quietly ticking from the moment it sprouts. But no one has fully cracked how these forests stay perfectly in sync. And then comes the moment of truth. After flowering, the entire bamboo forest dies together. Animals that depend on it struggle to survive, and in places like Mizoram, this event is known as Mautam because it triggers a surge in rat populations. It's a natural cycle that brings both beauty and danger. Still, there's something powerful in this story. A forest that waits for generations, blooms together, dies together, and makes space for the next one. It reminds us that nature thinks in centuries, not seconds. Some of its secrets aren't meant to be solved quickly. Bamboo's bloom is a quiet lesson in patience, unity, and renewal. A long countdown that ends in a fresh beginning. 3. Talipot palm tree flower, Corypha umbraculifera, the giant's farewell. Have you ever seen a tree that spends most of its life preparing for a single moment? The Talipot palm does exactly that. This giant can grow taller than a 7-story building and waits almost 60 to 80 years before it blooms. And when the moment finally arrives, it doesn't hold back. The tree explodes into millions of creamy white flowers. The cluster is so huge it can weigh more than a ton. No wonder botanists at the Singapore Botanic Gardens call it a once-in-a-century spectacle. But there's a twist. Right after this incredible bloom, the Talipot palm dies. It's a natural process called monocarpic death. a final act that clears the way for the next generation. This palm isn't just a botanical wonder. It has deep cultural roots in South India, where people consider it sacred and use its parts in rituals. DNA research also shows it's one of the oldest flowering palms on the planet. So why wait decades for one bloom? Scientists think this slow countdown gives the species a better chance to survive. The Talipot Palm teaches us something simple but powerful. Some things take time, and the most meaningful moments can't be rushed. It's like watching time itself flower, a quiet farewell from a giant that lived a lifetime for one brilliant moment. For Puya Raymondii flower plant, the queen of the Andes. Have you ever heard of a plant that spends almost a century preparing for one final moment? Meet Puya Raymondii, the queen of the Andes. High in the mountains of Peru and Bolivia, this giant survives harsh winds and freezing nights. For nearly 100 years, it stores energy in silence, almost like it's saving strength for a performance it only gets to give once. And when the moment arrives, it's impossible to miss. A flower spike rises almost 30 feet into the air, covered with thousands of blooms. The sight is so rare that locals call it the Tower of Life and Death. Birds, bees, and insects rush toward it, turning the entire mountain slope into a living festival. Botanist Antonio Raimondi first documented this marvel, and today it's studied in leading natural history institutes around the world for its unusual life strategy. After blooming, the plant dies, leaving behind seeds that carry its century-long story forward. It's one of nature's rarest live performances. Miss it once, and you miss it forever. 5. Neelakurinji flower plant, the blue miracle of India. Have you ever seen a landscape turn blue overnight? Every 12 years, the hills of Munnar in Kerala transform into a rolling sea of color. This rare event is created by the Neelakurinji plant, known in science as Strobilanthes kunthiana. Researchers at the National Botanical Research Institute in Lucknow study its bloom cycles, and what they found is remarkable. The plant follows one of the most precise flowering rhythms in nature. Each plant blooms only once in its lifetime. Once the flowers fade, the plant dies, leaving behind seeds that wait another 12 years to rise again. When the hills turn blue, locals treat it as a celebration of renewal. Visitors from around the world travel to witness it, while scientists track everything from temperature patterns to satellite readings to understand how these blooms stay so perfectly timed. It's nature's own blue calendar, a quiet reminder that patience and change are part of every living story. Have you ever noticed how some of the most delicate things in nature are also the strongest? Hidden in the warm tropics grows a plant that proves exactly that. It's called the jewels of Opar plant, Talinum paniculatum. First, it looks tiny and fragile. Its pink flowers open for only a single day, catching the sunlight like little gems. By evening, they disappear, almost as if they were never there. But what you see on the surface is only half its story. Beneath the soil, the plant holds a quiet power. Its roots store water and energy, helping it survive places where other plants cannot. When the conditions turn tough, something unexpected happens. The plant releases all its flowers at once, creating a brief burst of color that marks both a beginning and an ending. Early herbalists believed its glowing seeds symbolized hope that never fades. Today, botanists admire how it blends softness with survival, showing that resilience doesn't always look strong. Sometimes it looks gentle. The story reminds us of something we often forget. Beauty isn't meant to last forever, but the meaning it leaves behind can. The jewels of Opar blooms only once under the hardest moments. Maybe that's why its miracle feels unforgettable. Have you ever heard of a flower so rare and so dramatic that people line up for hours just to observe it? This is the Titan Arum, also known as the corpse flower plant. Native to the rainforests of Indonesia, it holds the record for being the largest single flower in the world. But the part that shocks people isn't its size. It's the smell. When it blooms once every 7 to 10 years, it releases a scent that mimics rotting flesh. Why would a flower do that? Scientists at the Chicago Botanic Garden explain that the odor attracts carrion beetles and flies, the insects that help it pollinate. And here's the wild part. The flower actually warms itself to spread the smell farther, reaching up to 10 feet tall in full bloom. Even though it smells terrible, the Titan Arum has become a global celebrity. Each blooming event is streamed live and watched by millions because it lasts only 1 or 2 days before collapsing again. DNA studies once caused confusion, but today we know it's more closely related to lilies than fungi, proving how complex evolution can be. The corpse flower may look dramatic and smell unpleasant, but it carries a simple truth. Beauty in nature isn't always pretty. Sometimes, it's powerful, strange, and unforgettable. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stand in front of a plant that has survived since before the dinosaurs? Meet Dayun edule, a true living fossil. This ancient species has been on Earth for more than 250 million years. It belongs to the cycad family, a group of plants so old they watched the first reptiles evolve. Dayun blooms rarely, sometimes only once in an entire human generation, making each flower a quiet message from the past. Instead of petals, it produces cone-like structures that look more like pine cones. Scientists at the Smithsonian Botanic Institute study these cones closely because their pollen dispersal method hasn't changed in almost 200 million years. What makes Dayun even more remarkable is its strength. It can survive drought, volcanic soil, and the slow-moving changes of time itself. Its DNA is a key tool for understanding how modern flowering plants began their journey. Every bloom is a prehistoric whisper, reminding us that some parts of Earth's story are still alive today. A living fossil growing in our modern world. 9. Have you ever seen a desert come back to life in a single night? Beneath the dry sand lies a plant that can wait years for its moment. It's called the sand verbena, and it's one of the desert's quiet miracles. Most of the year, the desert looks empty. But the moment a rare rainfall touches the ground, something incredible happens. The sand verbena rises almost immediately, turning the landscape into waves of pink and purple blooms. Scientists at Arizona State University call it a desert resurrection. What makes this plant extraordinary is how well it handles extremes. It survives crushing heat, long droughts, and drastic temperature swings. When it blooms, it marks the start of ecological renewal, signaling that life is ready to return after harsh summers. Each flower lasts only a few days, disappearing as quickly as it appeared. At twilight, rare desert moths visit the blossoms, carrying pollen across the dunes. And even after the blooms fade, the plant leaves behind seeds that can stay dormant for decades, waiting patiently for the next rainfall. The sand verbena reminds us of something simple but powerful. Beauty doesn't need easy conditions to exist. Sometimes the harshest places create the brightest surprises. 10. Have you ever seen a flower that looks like it's glowing in the dark? Deep in the rainforests of the Philippines, there's a plant that feels almost magical. It's called the jade vine, and its turquoise-green flowers seem to shine under the moonlight. What makes it even more mysterious is how rarely it blooms. Sometimes it appears once in decades, leaving botanists and locals waiting for its return. Researchers at the University of the Philippines Botanic Center study it closely because its pollination is unlike anything else. Instead of bees or butterflies, the jade vine is pollinated by bats that hang upside down to sip its nectar. Its color is one of the rarest shades in the plant world. No other species carries this exact glowing turquoise. Scientists even call it a botanical jewel because of its soft, bioluminescent tint. But the jade vine also faces danger. Climate change is affecting its blooming rhythm, making each appearance even more precious. For many local communities, the flower is a symbol of harmony and good fortune. When it finally blooms, the rainforest seems to light up from within, as if it's breathing. The jade vine reminds us that nature still holds mysteries that feel almost unreal. A miracle blooming from the hidden palette of the rainforest. Have you ever thought about what it means to wait your entire life for one single moment? Some flowers do exactly that. The agave waits almost a century, the bamboo waits a lifetime, and the Titan Arum waits a decade. All for one bloom, one chance, and then they fade. They don't grow fast, and they don't bloom often. They're not chasing survival. They're chasing perfection. These plants remind us that some moments are meant to happen only once, and that's what makes them unforgettable. Maybe the real mystery isn't why they die after blooming, it's how they live, holding on for years, even decades, for a single burst of beauty. Each of these rare flowers follows its own clock, slow, patient, and powerful. They bloom once to tell a story that lasts forever. So here's a question for you. If you could witness only one of these once-in-a-lifetime blooms, which one would you choose? And before you go, like, share, comment, and subscribe for more botanical wonders. Keep exploring, keep growing, keep planting trees. And a heartfelt thank you for watching.